right, this is episode 3 of the Open Hearts podcast. Long time coming. And it's super amazing that we get to do this again. But this time I'm doing it with Ian. How did you come about that, anyways?
Well, it's just a way to get people to remember the name. And they always do. It has worked. It was an experiment that actually worked. And so I stuck to it.
All right. Do you feel better after being on the Open Hearts podcast?
Yeah, but I feel like I said some things that I shouldn't have said.
Wow. A classic example of what the episode is supposed to be. Don't worry, you guys are going to see it.
That's what happens when you're talking with Martha, whether on air, off air, on a podcast, or anywhere. She's a lot comfortable to talk with, and so you just might end up saying, be careful when you come here, because you just might end up saying what you didn't intend to say.
Hi there. Classic podcast intro. Anyways, I have long desired a space where people can just be their most authentic self and people can express their emotions as much as possible. But we're in a society where we all want to talk. Nobody wants to listen. We're all talking. We're all speaking at the same time. Nobody wants to sit in the still and listen to what another person has to say. And truth is, I don't think anybody will make any headways, or two people seated somewhere and everyone is speaking. They'd be doing absolutely nothing but creating a noise. Because I desired it, Open Hearts came to be a very safe space where you can feel heard and listened to. And I feel like the most important part of life is when people know that they are heard, when people know that they feel appreciated and their emotions are validated as well. So, welcome to yet another episode of the Open Hearts podcast. Now, today's conversation is one that we don't hear people talk about very often. A man sharing his emotions, his grief, his pain. How dare he? Society expects him to be strong. Society calls him a pillar. Society says he should be immovable. But what happens when grief and pain cracks the strength and, things literally fall apart? This is not an invitation to rush through your grief or to force you into healing. It's just creating a space where you sit in the truth of what you feel and understand how to make headways from where you now are to where you want to be. And that is wholeness, complete wholeness. Now, whether you're listening through or watching through your headphones, or you are in the car driving in a community or a society that tends to be so loud, I want you to sit with us as we make space for what is real, as we make space for what is true. And for today's conversation, like I mentioned earlier, men are not supposed to feel. But we're going to be hearing about that from someone who I know have experienced a number of things in life that can force a man to keep quiet, can force a man out of his senses. Today I have someone that is a classical example of professionalism. I might have not said that to him many times, but the truth is, when you find people that are dedicated to their craft and what they do, it's always important that you appreciate it. You appreciate them. And he's blushing already. That's the point. And I got him. Welcome.
Thank you, Martha. Thank you. It's good to be here.
Awesome. Tell us your name. I would have said it, but that's how you say it, and I'm not sure I might be able to do justice to it.
Oh, do I want to do that now? Anyway, my name is Iheanacho Prince.
You guys.
It's so good to be here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So there's this pledge we take before we start the show.
Okay.
And it's just so we know that you're committed to whatever we're doing here. It's an oath.
Okay.
Do you think you can take that?
I do solemnly swear.
No, you don't. Anyways, now it says, today I open my heart.
Today I open my heart.
To truth.
To truth.
To tenderness.
To tenderness.
To the parts of me still healing.
To the parts of me still healing.
I honor my grief and the grief of others.
I honor my grief and the grief of others.
I choose courage over silence.
I choose courage over silence.
Presence over perfection.
Presence over perfection.
In this space, I am safe to feel.
in this space I am safe to feel,
To remember,
to remember,
to speak,
to speak,
to grow.
to grow.
And as I share, I hope someone else will feel less alone.
And as I share, I hope someone else will feel less alone.
This is my truth.
This is my truth.
This is my offering.
This is my offering.
This is my open heart.
This is my open heart.
You thought about it for a second.
Wait, how did you write this? How did you come up with this, man? That was so deep. Like,
Absolutely.
it was really deep. And
That's the point.
you could feel the words as you say them. I like it. I
Awesome.
like it.
Well, we're off on a good start.
Ooh, now you got me on a very, very. Ooh.
That's the point.
Okay, so I've taken the
Anyways.
oath, so we're good.
All right. So when we talk about grief,
Yeah.
or when we talk about pain, a lot of people don't understand the disparity from where you're coming from to where you now are. Can you tell us what your life felt like before grief?
So life was good as a child growing up. Should have no worries in
Absolutely.
life. But my first encounter with grief was I think it was about I don't know now, but I think it was in 1998 when I lost my grandfather, and we had just become so close. And at the time we had come back, we traveled for Christmas, and it was how the family Christmas is, especially in the East. It was all fun, and then all of a sudden, just after Christmas, a few days after Christmas, Grandpa is ill, and everybody's like, "Oh, he's gonna get better. He's gonna get better." And then just on the 2nd of January after, he was taken to the hospital. I think on the 30th, and then on the 2nd of January, after we had just said New Year's and all that stuff, he passed, and it was so painful because I'm like his first official grandchild, right? So it was quite painful, and I cried a whole lot, right? And then when it happened the second time, and this time it was way deeper, I couldn't find the tears.
Absolutely.
It was painful that I couldn't cry. Now, the most painful part of it was that people were saying stuff like, how could he not cry? How is it that he's not crying? This woman gave everything for him. This woman was everything. How is it that he's not crying? But what they didn't understand was, or even I didn't understand it at the time, was she practically died in my arms, right? And who am I talking about? I'm talking about my mom. Like, she was my everything, At the time, we couldn't even, no one was thinking about how we were going. We didn't even know. Everyone was saying, how will they survive, right? And for someone who you love so much to pass right before your very eyes, I was yet to be, I was not 20 years. I think I was 19 or 18 or so, and I had to learn to be a man, as they say, because I had siblings, right? And I had to be a man for them.
Are you the first?
Yes, I am. So I had to be a man for them, and that was a whole lot of responsibility. Like, you also don't want to break down, so much. You don't want to break down and crash out so that they also don't crash out. So when they're crashing out, someone has to be there for them. Someone has to uplift them and stuff. And so I was trying to be all that. Plus the fact that for some reason, I just couldn't cry because, I'm thinking about, look, this isn't real, like, And so all of that happened and until the day she was buried, and I had to read a tribute, and eulogy, and right after that, somehow it seemed like the floodgates were opened, and I found somewhere to go and cry in private, and and all of that. But the painful part of it was when she was finally, laid down, and that night it became real. This woman is never coming back, man. It's you alone and your siblings and all of that, And for the first time, it felt, your world has come to an end,
how are you going to live without
Your mother.
now? It goes on, they say life goes on, right? You start to try to pick up the pieces and all of that. I remember that for more than 2 years, right?
Yeah.
I would see stuff, something would happen and I'm thinking, oh, let me just show my go and gist my mom, let me go, because she was my gist buddy and she wasn't the type to go out and all that. And I was also a homebody. So we were best of friends. We would gist and talk for hours and stuff. Sometimes she would even say, you go out, you're a young person, go and mingle with your friends and stuff. And so I would see those things, or something happens, I want to come home and then I remember she's no longer there. At times when I would come in and it would feel like, because she had a favorite couch, where she always used to just...
They all have favorite couch. Why?
So I would come in, open the door, and I'm expecting to see her on that couch, and she's not there. It was quite a very, very emotional moment. It was, a plethora of emotional moments, the times when you feel like, okay, you're moved on, right? And then something happens at your big adult age and you're thinking, God, I wish my mom was here. And those moments, you get emotional and then you move on, For the most part of it, I really think that there's a part of the grief that I've buried in that I haven't really experienced and lived. Till now?
What's that part?
It's been about 18, 19 years now. You know that part where you really sit down and accept that, this has happened. You have to deal with it. Like, there's certain things I don't like to remember, right? Okay. Especially some of the good moments and all of that. It seems like I just buried them deep down, so it doesn't make me feel emotional and miss her so much.
Wow.
Yeah.
But why? You see, the thing about grief is the fact that you need to feel these things to be able to move past these things. I know that society has confined men and all of that.
You're a man.
But
a man can feel certain
are you still
things.
doing that shit?
We say that I'm a man. Yeah. So for me, I feel like I didn't have enough time.
Okay.
Right. So those moments are precious.
Okay.
And so I want to keep them that way to the day that I'm probably going to need them the most. You know how you save something that you like for the best moments? So I think I want to leave it for that moment. So I don't like to revisit some of those, some of those moments. And I just leave them there, just let them be, The days where you're driving and some thoughts just flashes through your mind and you're like, where's that coming from? Get back. Because it's in your subconscious, no matter what you do, something could just happen and, you see someone and it just triggers that thought. Oh, there's this part I haven't thought about. No, let's not think about it.
Think about it today.
So, but grief, there's several levels of grief. Grieving my mom, it's been difficult.
Okay.
I won't even lie. It's been really difficult. We went through a lot together. And some of those moments are the ones I don't like to remember. Those tough ones, those really difficult times when I know she has made some sacrifices. I know as a child, I wanted to pay her back. I wanted to compensate her for those sacrifices and I can't, right? I don't like to think about that because it makes me feel like I can never live up to my potential. I can never fulfill what I set out to as a child. Like, how you make certain promises. I'm one person who loves to keep promises, right? And those promises can never be fulfilled. It's so painful because I'm thinking that if she had stayed a little longer, she probably would be enjoying me now. Like, she would, all of those things, I'm going to buy you a car, I'm going to buy you a house. I probably would have bought her a car first before I bought anything for myself, my life would just have been a little more better. And maybe I would have been settled and all that.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about what changed, because it's a whole transition process. You can't, who you were before grief and who you are after grief or while you're still grieving, it's like grieving. It's like two very different people. So what changed about you after your experience?
I would sound really mean if I say. If I would sound really mean
Okay.
if I say, but I've taken the also, yeah. So after my mom's passing, first things, I said if I couldn't cry as much for my mom, never crying for anybody. I don't care who you are. Secondly, death doesn't mean anything to me. As much as I'm an empathetic person, I'm all of that. When somebody dies, it just feels like, yo, it's life, man. You know, as much as I tend to understand what you're feeling and how all of that, I don't feel that much, you know, the way that people would feel and cry and feel like in the next 1-2 minutes, I'm back to, because I feel like life has happened to you, man. It happened to all of us. I mean, it might sound a little mean, but the experiences that you go through and it just changes the way you see things. Before my mom's passing, when people die, I feel like, oh God, I'm never gonna see them again. It's painful, it's this and all that. But after my mom, it just feels like, yo, it happens to everybody. You know, and that might sound mean, but it's just how that's the part of me that has changed. Like that part that is going to sit for hours, brooding over somebody passing and all of that. I'm not that person anymore. I'm the guy who just looks at it and like, yo, it happened to me. It's happening to you now. It will happen to somebody else tomorrow. So there's no point dwelling on it. That's very, very emotionally unintelligent to say to anyone, which is why I don't say it to anybody. But deep within me, that's what I'm feeling. Okay, it has happened. What's the way forward next? What's the next? Because that's how I felt when my mom passed. I was constantly thinking, what's the way forward? This has happened. What next? What am I doing next? How do I survive? How do my siblings survive? All of that. Because I had a lot of responsibility. That just triggered, you know, the man in me, right? And from that moment on, that's who I've been. Constantly thinking of the next line of action for responsibility, to meet up with your responsibilities and all of that. So a lot has changed. It's sad that, you know, I can't feel about death the way I used to. But I mean, I think it's also a good thing because it doesn't allow me to dwell and just dwell there.
A funny story. I used to be the person who, when you're passing, you know, in Abuja, you see some of those shops where they sell coffin on the road. I'll look away, or I'll just do the sign of the cross quickly. It's not my portion in Jesus' name. And then at the point where I had to be the one to shop for my mom's coffin, then I'm picking colors and I'm picking, you know, aesthetics for a coffin. Do you know,
these are the parts of it that I don't like to remember.
Okay, that's the part we're going to talk about.
Because
okay.
My mom passed. I was with her in the hospital, took her to the morgue, and I saw this guy, you know, carry her body around like it didn't mean anything, you know, and we're talking about what they're going to, you know, what she's going to wear, and he says, "Look, why are you stressing yourself?
They have wrappers that they
just
can
get white
cover.
something like one white stuff." I'm like, no, that's not what she's going to. That's my mom, you know, and it was. I mean, I wanted to give her all of that stuff, but this guy had been so used to corpses and stuff that he doesn't see anything
wrong with it.
And I remember the first time they brought her out the morgue and she was looking really dark. And I said, no, I don't want to see this. I never want to remember my mom as this. You know, now the images are flashing back, and like I said, it's one of those things that I don't like to remember. Now the images are flashing back, and it's really annoying. It's painful, right? So they say the pain never goes away, and that's the truth. Every time you remember them and you think about them, for a moment you relieve that pain. You relieve it one way or another. And so looking at my mom's lifeless body, you know, going to the morgue with her and seeing that guy just deposit her in the morgue and say, leave it there, leave it there, leave it there, just go. and we moved from referring to my mom as her and, you know, to it. It was just a very terrible experience. It's sad.
Okay, I understand. And they're very relatable experiences. Very relatable because, like you said, these people have seen it many times, so they don't hold it in high esteem as you do. You know, I remember for my mom, we had to move her from one morgue to another because of how the body was being treated there. They don't let you give them specific wrappers or clothing to cover them up. They have a central one, and then you go home thinking, how many people have used this? Do you guys even wash this? You know, these things, you hold them so dear to yourself, and you almost never let it go. But the truth is, at some point, you're going to have to let it go.
Absolutely, you have.
You don't look like you're ready to let them go.
I'm letting them go at a time.
Okay.
Like I said, I just don't want to leave everything at once.
Okay.
Right? It's a gradual process for me. So maybe I need therapy, but
you haven't gone to therapy.
Maybe I need serious therapy and you know, just sit down but I'm a Nigerian man.
Nah.
I'm a Nigerian man.
Nah, we go to therapy.
We heal the way that we do.
How do you mean?
We bury stuff.
Okay.
We compartmentalize. That's all I've done in the last couple of years. There's a compartment that I'd never visit. It's there. I'm leaving. I'm going. I'm thinking, oh, it will be 20 years in the next 2 years, right? Maybe that's when I'm going to
let it go.
Let all of it out. So I did a part of it when it was 10. I did another when it was 15. And then maybe when it's 20, I'm just going to relive all of those moments and just release. Yeah.
Wow. So let me ask, do you think that society plays a part in these compartments that you create, especially when it comes to grief? Because you said, you know, you had to hide somewhere to cry at some point. Do you think that took away something from you as well?
I don't think.
Okay.
That's because I had a reason for it. My siblings are looking up to me, and I'm one person who doesn't believe in losing frames, right?
Okay.
Don't lose the frame, no matter what it is. Even though these days I found myself losing frame a lot of times, but at the time I would never lose frame for anything. I knew what my responsibilities were. I knew what I needed to do. I also learned a great deal from my mom that life isn't just about you. It's about the people who follow you, and I wanted to leave that moment for her, right? Everything I did was to mirror what she would do if she was here. Okay. You know, she's the type who would not leave things undone because she wants to be emotional, right? Okay. So I knew that, I needed to be responsible for these people, and that's what I'm going to do at this point, right? I would put myself, last. Let's take care of these people first. Okay. These days you hear a lot of things. I was watching a video, I think it was yesterday or sometime earlier today, and they were talking about what to say to people when they're grieving and what not to say. And I'm like, you're thinking about the person who's grieving. Are you thinking about how difficult it is for the person who is coming to them, who's coming to sit down with them to say,
very valid.
Because that person also doesn't know what to say. Yeah. So at the time, whatever comes out of their mouth is what you get. Right? So we're trying, as much as we're trying to get people to be more emotionally intelligent, we're also creating a box for them and how they should feel, how they should react, and how they shouldn't. We're also just creating a mold for everybody else. The more we're telling people to come out of a mold, we're telling them to move from this mold to the next,
another.
Oh no, don't say that to somebody who's grieving. When you grieve, don't grieve this way. It's not healthy for you. No one should tell you. We say that, right? No one should tell you how to feel. But also, there are people who have gone ahead, who have felt this way before. You can also pick a few things from them, depending on where you are, whatever spectrum you are at the time. When we started this conversation, you said something about living, just reliving the moment and letting all of that go, which is what therapy does to you.
Yeah.
Oh, leave everything, just let it go, move on. But who the are you to tell me how to grieve? You tell me that people should not tell me how to grieve, but you're also telling me how to grieve.
Okay.
Classic. So let's just let people be. For people choose how they want to deal with situations, and they have a right to. Right? As much as we want people to be more responsive and all of that, and speak about stuff, which is why I always say when we talk about men not speaking up and all of that, we're telling them what to do. When we tell them speak up, we're telling them what to do. The same way we say, oh, no one should tell you how to feel or what to say and all of that stuff. We're now the ones telling them what to do. Men find ways to deal with whatever it is. If it's by burying it deep down,
okay.
Hold on. If it's by burying it deep down and waiting for the moment where it finds expression.
Yeah.
Because it will always find expression one way or another. I don't think emotions stay bottled up forever. This is my own school of thought.
Okay. So the thing is, with men, it's not exactly saying you have to do it like this or you have to do it like that. We already know that just as society has confined the women to certain kind of ideologies, there's an image a woman is supposed to portray. You can't be like this. You're supposed to be like that. You're prepared for that. It's the same way that society has, put men in a box.
Okay, so I'm going to share this. Maybe I didn't want to talk about this part of it. Okay. But I'm going to share
Welcome.
this. Most times people say they want men to speak up, but they're not ready for men speaking up.
How do you? Why so? Why so?
I've been in situations where I've opened up to people and I've shared, and the next thing, they don't want you anymore.
Funny enough,
they don't want you anymore. They don't care about you anymore. Like they say stuff like, "Oh, speak up, talk to me. I'm here for you. I'm gonna." But what they really mean is, let me hear it and decide whether or not I want to stay. Right?
Okay.
Sometimes again, it's, oh no, I can't deal. Right? Yeah. And many times you have a situation where the guy speaks up and, oh no, he's not even a man. He's not manly enough. No, imagine, what kind of man is that?
So you see, that's the mentality we're trying to deconstruct now.
It is not deconstructing anything. Martha, if I was dating you or married to you, going back to losing frame, and you find that I'm very emotional and I'm very in touch with my emotions, the next thing you would say is, you talk too much, you complain too much. Okay. That's one of the first things that's how it's gonna start. You're beginning to complain too much. You're beginning to, and that's me just being expressive, right? Now, all the times, what happens is, because sometimes we don't want to be accountable, we don't want people to say. So when you find a man who is very, very in touch with his emotions and is emotionally intelligent enough to speak up, it gets boring. It gets frustrating because he's always going to need you to be accountable for your actions and inactions.
Okay, let me step in here for a bit. One thing I've learned about life is not everyone is equipped to handle the weight of your truth. Not everybody is equipped to handle the weight of your truth.
True.
So it depends on you to decide who to give that truth to.
So how do you determine who to give that truth to?
Okay.
Until you say.
Funny enough, you're gonna make me spill an episode in this episode. That episode is about vulnerability, right? And vulnerability is one thing I always will ask anybody who tells me, Martha, you need to be vulnerable. Why do you need me to be vulnerable? I need to know why you need me to be vulnerable. You see, like submission, when we talk about submission in marriage, in relationships and whatnot, we think that it's a culture that is supposed to be put into somebody. It's something that you're supposed to learn. But how do we call it? Submissions comes naturally. If you struggle to submit to somebody, you need to reaccess the reason you're there in the first place. It's the same thing with vulnerability. And the people that you sit with and you're free enough to express your emotions without judgment or without fear. Now, at the time when I was experiencing grief, the same thing that you have said, a lot of people will say, when I speak to her, I'm emotionally drained because she's always reliving her experiences of how she was hurt, how her mother died. Maybe I will get to explain one day, especially everything that had transpired before the actual event. It's more like I'm seeing something and then there's a confirmation to that thing. Or you sleep and you dream that your car was stolen and then you wake up and the car is stolen actually. The pain of that is actually different because I saw this thing happen and I still packed it at the exact same spot. What could I have done differently? So vulnerability is not, you don't give the gift of your vulnerability to just anybody. You need to know who you are giving that gift to. And how do you know? People have tendencies. Do you know something? Before I'm able to share my personal experiences with you, I would have had prior conversations with you. Your response to what I say to you at that time sometimes determines how far I can get with you and how deep the conversation can go. There are people who afterwards treat you in a certain kind of way. They don't tell you almost immediately like, you're draining me, you're too emotional, you're in touch with your emotions. They go out and be different people to you. You experience a shift or a disconnect from who they were to you before you shared your experiences. At least now you know that I'm not going to share my experiences with you any further because you have told me who you are, not with your words, but by how you acted or how you switched towards me. When we talk about the fact that I'm not going to share my emotions with you because you're going to take advantage of that emotion, that's the kind of idea that I'm trying to take your mind away from. Especially because there are people who are genuine as well. Generalizing the fact that, when I tell men, or when as a man, I share my emotions, there are people that are going to take advantage of it. It's not allowing yourself to experience the wholeness that exists in this universe.
So I want to understand this conversation. I just hope we're not, because there's one thing. It's one thing for a man to sit with men who can relate, and the way that people say men don't talk, it's actually not true.
Okay.
So men can sit down over a bottle and just generally talk, right?
To who? To themselves.
To themselves, right? Okay. And you think that this conversation is just normal.
Okay.
But they make jokes out of these things.
Okay.
It's a way of letting out.
Okay.
So I had initially come here to just come and say the normal things, emotional, but the truth is, we all grieve differently.
Absolutely.
The way that a man will treat his friend who is sick is different from the way that a woman will treat her friend.
Give me a classic example.
Now,
okay.
I was sick one time. My friends came to the house. People had come before, bought some stuff for me, right? Yeah. My friends went into the kitchen, found those things. They were eating. And I said, as you know, if you chop, what would they chop for you now? If you die now, you go still chop, and someone chop and now eat their life. Now women would consider that insensitive, right? Yeah. And then we're talking. I was sick. I was sick, and we're talking about death for like 1 hour. Oh boy, if you die now, guy, this is this sickness now. If you don't die now, and we were laughing and talking about these things, right? Now, if women sat down and your friend, and you're sick, and your friend comes in and says, Martha, you go, what if you die now? Say you die now from this sickness. Go chop your apples, and stuff. You would feel a certain way. Yeah. But that's not how it is for men. If I'm going through, so I've sat down with my friends and he's going through marital troubles, and then we come out, we're sitting down and we're having drinks, and he says, bro, if to say, no, I have to wait 1 more year.
Okay.
Like, what is that? What does that mean? It's like, if I'd known, I would have waited 1 more year before I got married. Maybe I would have been prepared enough.
Okay.
Maybe not. But maybe I would have done certain things differently. You know?
Mm-hmm.
And another time, I'm sitting with a way older man. And he says, don't let nobody rush you into marriage.
Not everybody is equipped to handle the weight of your truth. In fact, I was not in this place, in this headspace 2 years ago, 1 year ago. I have always said that this podcast is something that I have conceived 5 years ago, but I was not in the headspace to execute it. 5 years later, I'm now more comfortable. Comfortable not because I have forgotten the person I had lost. Comfortable now because I have dealt with the emotions that kept me in a position where I hid those emotions for a very long time. But one thing is static and one thing remains. Did I feel that pain at that time? Yes, I did. Did I look for better ways to deal with it? Yes, I did. Some other people at that time will say she was an angry person, she's rude, she's bitter. But they don't truly understand what you were dealing with at that time. Are they saying the truth? Yes. But do they understand the backstory? No, they don't. You were bitter, but you thought that someone else would have understood. I'm bitter because this is how I feel.
But how do you expect somebody else to understand if you don't let them in? Hold on.
Oh my goodness.
So I feel like I'm taking this conversation to different areas. But if I were to just sit down here and talk about how people handle emotions and all of that, I would say to you that I'm relearning to be a more private person, more reserved, more emotionally controlled.
Okay.
I don't know if that's the word.
Why?
Because when I started to study about emotional intelligence, I was quite excited about it, right?
Okay.
Oh, talk to people. Feel free to just share and express what you're going through. But I started to talk, and then I realized over time, and this is between last year and now, right? It's coming to I'm coming to the realization that people don't care, right?
Okay.
No one really cares. When you talk, oh, that's good gist. And for if they're great, they're so great, and that's where it ends. Okay. But if they're not, your gist becomes somebody else's podcast, right?
Yeah.
Goes on the podcast, just like I just talked about a friend of mine who was talking about, you know. So for me now, it's emotional intelligence is not about just speaking to people.
Absolutely.
I'm relearning some of these things. It's not about just speaking to people.
Yeah.
It's about also being comfortable.
Okay.
And living with your experiences and your truths, even if you don't share them.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Because for the longest, we were made to believe, oh, if you don't express, if you don't talk, we won't heal. You know, you need to.
But there are different ways to express, Prince. You don't necessarily. Speaking is one of the ways to express how you feel. Speaking. And I said something to you.
Another.
Yes, I said something to you. When someone asks me, you need to be vulnerable, I ask you, why do you need me to be vulnerable? What do you want to do for me that I have to be vulnerable before you can't do it for me? There are different ways that you can express that emotion.
So I feel like people told us to express more so that we can all be content.
Okay.
Yeah. Because these days you see people put a camera to their face and they just say certain things that, yo, you shouldn't be saying.
Okay.
So as much as we encourage people to speak, right? I'm in the phase in my life where I don't feel like everything should be public. Everything should come out to somebody else. There's certain things that you need to deal with as an individual.
And that's why you need to be discerning.
If we're saying people should speak, let's also tell them
Okay.
that they need to be discerning.
Absolutely.
That they need to understand that the world is not the way that they may be seeing it. And that the truth and their truth today can also be
weaponized. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it may not even be the truth tomorrow.
Yeah.
In the sense, not like, truth but their reality today may not be their reality tomorrow.
Yeah.
I've seen people who said some certain things and spoke to certain people, and a few years down the line, you're regretting why. Yeah. Why did I even ever open up to this person? Because they've used it against me. They've done certain things, that they know would hurt me, But again, when it comes to trusting, you just trust. Okay. Like you said, right? You just trust. Because they're human beings, they're liable to make mistakes. Yeah. But when we tell people to speak, we don't always educate them and let them know, look, the fact that you're talking to somebody doesn't mean that this thing would not come back to bite you in the butt. It would not mean that just because you've spoken to them, that you will feel better. Yeah. Because a lot of times we make people believe that if you speak to somebody, you feel better about your situation. Yeah, you might feel lighter, but does it mean that the next 5 minutes you're not going to pick up that pain again? All right.
The truth, I feel like Prince has taken us on like very diverse journeys today. We've been...
Yeah, my bad. I'm sorry.
No, that's a great thing. We've been in several places today, but it just goes to say one thing. People understand things, or people go through things how they go through it. And I'm not taking away the fact that nobody should be told how to grieve. It's one thing that I have been particular about from the start of this podcast. Nobody tells you how to feel. Talking about it is one way. Now, much as I encourage you to speak about it, you also need to be discerning about how you speak about it and who you speak about it to. Why are you even speaking about it in the first place? One thing my mom would always say is, if you say something to somebody, before you say that thing to someone, ask yourself, if I hear this from 5 other people, how am I going to feel about it? You access how you feel, and that helps you know whether or not that should be said at all in the first place. So, much as we encourage, vulnerability is definitely the next episode for this podcast.
It's good.
But much as we will encourage people to do that, it's also important for you to know that there are different ways that you can get to be vulnerable. It doesn't have to be about speaking to someone. Now, like you said, therapists thrive on your vulnerability to be able to help you. Support groups thrive on vulnerability. Most of these people thrive on vulnerability, but you need to be able to discern, to know who to share that with. It's the same thing with marriage. You don't have 100% guarantee that this person is going to give me all that I want, but you trust the abilities, you trust the traits that you already see in them, and that makes you take that leap of faith.
Fantastic. Well said. Well said. I said all of these things to say that it's okay to feel it the way that you want and deal with it like a rolling stone, right? If you're here today, you're here today. It's like a diversified portfolio, right? If today you're feeling great and you feel like talking to someone, it's okay. If you don't feel like talking to anyone, it's okay. No one should put us in a box as to say, oh, you need to speak about this. You need to talk to people about what you're going through. If you feel like it, now, please by all means do. If you don't feel like, if you wake up tomorrow morning and you don't feel like speaking about your pain, or you don't feel like, even thinking about your pain, it's fine. We live one day at a time.
One day at a time.
Not like, we have to just do everything the way that someone specifies them or the way that the society has dictated them for us. I feel like I've spoken so much.
But that's a great thing. Thank you for coming on the Open Hearts Podcast.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you to everyone who has been there with us and who have watched to the very end. Men have emotions. They should be allowed to feel. Although Prince thinks that they feel how they feel, right? But if you're in a situation where you're with someone that feels, people are dynamic, the expression you get from Martha will be totally different from what you get for Prince. And that goes to say that understand the people that you are dealing with. That helps you know how to deal best with them. That is emotional intelligence. And I think it's a life skill. It's a life tool that everyone should have. See you on the next one. I feel like you already know what the next one is going to be about. But yeah, you just have to cross your fingers and sit tight to have that come your way. See you next time.